All right, thank you so much for joining us on edition number 74 of Lunch Out Loud Ottawa. My name is Nick Wachowski.
And I'm Andrew Miller.
And of course, we're the podcast that talks to the people, places, events, and music that make this city the incredible city that it is. And before we get to our special guest, Jeff Westeinde from Windmill Developments. I think I tried.
It wasn't as bad as some people, but you're close.
I tried. Why don't we check this out?
Hello, I'm James Leclaire, and I'm just releasing my third full-length album called Of What Is Left with my band, the Cable 22s, consisting of Michael Hunter on drums and mandolin, and Chris McLean on bass. We're having a CD release show June 13th at the Branch Texas Grill in Kempville, and a vinyl release at the Record Center late June. Date's going to be announced shortly. Also playing Blues Fest opening night at the Barney Denson Theater in the War Museum. That's July 3rd. So it's going to be awesome. Anyway, we got some tracks for you here off my album. Hope you enjoy them. Thanks.
Sun sets into the west and the dust sticks to my neck as I watch the city lights fade in my mirror. My foot is heavy, I'm doing about 20 down a lost highway in a stolen Chevy. V6 is screaming in high gear, and I can't stop that ringing in my ear. Can't stop that ringing in my ear. My heart is pounding against my chest. No time to stop, no time to rest. Gotta get far away from here. Well, I know that I can never go back to what I had and what I left. I only hope that I can persevere. But I can't stop that ringing in my ears. Can't stop that.
So, sorry about that name spelling or name saying. Anyways, that was James Leclaire. New album Of What It Is Left is coming soon. Make sure you go see him at Blues Fest in the Barney Denson Theater. So if it's a little hot outside, you venture in the Barney Denson Theater. It's always a great time in there as well. So Jeff, thank you so much for having us here at the offices of Windmill Developments.
Pleasure.
As you've learned, I am a major fan of Windmill Developments and everything that you've been doing for the city. But of course, with all of our guests, we like to get to know them a little bit more. So tell us a little bit more about why you chose to stay in Ottawa. You could have gone anywhere else in the world, and maybe some favorite restaurants or that sort of thing.
You got it. Well, actually, I did go somewhere else in the world. So I left when I was 18. I left. I was never coming back. You know, I've had enough of Ottawa.
Yeah.
When I hit 35, I'm like, there's nowhere better in the world to live. This place is amazing, and it is. And I particularly miss the cottage and just the access we get outdoors. And now we have enough nightlife, enough great food, enough everything you need in a city. But the ability to get out of a city is just amazing, right? So,
where was your cottage located?
Well, the cottage I have now is up at Mont Saint Marie.
Okay.
Yeah,
nice.
My family cottage is on a little lake called Lac Léon, so near McGregor. McGregor is the big lake in the area up there. So.
Yeah.
So hopefully this past weekend was so nice out. Hopefully you got a chance to spend some time at the cottage.
I ran the lovely Pickenack River. So my wife and actually Rodney, who works with me here, so both of us and our wives ran down the Pickenack River, which is fantastic. So
You ran down it.
I was in a kayak, he was in
There
a
you
play
go.
canoe, and the two girls were in a whitewater canoe. So.
Oh, that's cool.
And sorry.
So you said you left here when you were 18 years old. How long were you in Ottawa?
We moved here when I was 6.
6 years old from?
Well, I was born in London, moved to Halifax, then Toronto, and my dad was a builder, so he came here to build CHEO, the Children's Hospital. East
Oh, really?
Ontario. So that was his first job, and then worked for Fuller for I think about 6 years, and then started his own thing. So so my entire the childhood I remember is here.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then when you left, where did you head to?
I went to school at Western, and then when I graduated, I was heading around the world. I made it to Vancouver and never left.
Yeah, that's a hard place to leave once you get there, I hear.
Well, there was a girl involved here.
Okay, all right.
She's now my wife, so I'm allowed to say that.
Okay.
There you go.
There was a girl involved that kept me in Vancouver, so yeah.
Oh, that's good. How'd you convince her to come back here then?
She's from here too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's convenient.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you guys met out there?
No, we were high school sweethearts, and she just kept chasing me around. So
Nice.
Yeah. But we had our first daughter out there, and I shouldn't say this on the show, but she was a boo-boo. So and we said, well, if we're going to do it, let's get at it. And Vancouver was home, and just stayed there. So we were there. I'm going to say almost 15 years we lived in Vancouver. And it's a great, Vancouver's a great city, but it's a big city. You got traffic, you got all the stuff that you get in big cities. And, for my job at the time, all I had to do, I needed to live near an airport. Could pick any airport in the world I want to live in. Yeah. And, this is the one, so.
No, right on.
So was it a good conversation with her? Maybe a lengthy one to get her back to Ottawa? Or?
No, there was it was really 3 or 4 things that came together at once. Her mom was a little sick. She was battling cancer, and so she was starting to do that, coming back and forth, and you're never sure if it was the last time you're going to see her and all that. So it sort of dawned on us that, listen, all our families are back here, and they're not getting any younger. So at some point in time, hopefully many, many years from now, we're going to deal with this, having be it siblings or parents, that we're going to want to be spending more time with. At the same time, my business was of a size that we were all over Western Canada, had to come to Ontario, and, well, it didn't have to, but it was the next natural market. And when you're in a boardroom in Vancouver and you say, who wants to move to Toronto? Yeah. Everybody, including me, is like, well, I'm not going there. So I said, well, I'll go there if I can go to Ottawa, right? So it was the second reason that we came back. So the two of them worked well. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And what about favorite restaurants in this area? We're in Westboro right now, 1306, right above Terra 20, so that fits in perfect with Windmill Development.
Well, I bought this building, and slowly we got the forest certification guys up. We were moving up on the 4th floor, Terra 20 down beneath us here. Paul Dewar, who's a greenie, has been here long before I bought this building. So
I didn't know his office was here. That was interesting to know. Yeah,
it's right there. Favorite restaurants? Well, there's too many of them. I mean, as I walk from down Richmond, depends what kind of mood I'm in, but the corner pub I really like. If you're in the mood for it, Becta's. I mean, I think not Becta's. It's Gazelle. Stephen does a great job there. The Savoy right across the way is a great spot. They've got, it's not quite a patio, but they open the big windows. You're looking out.
It's got a nice Mediterranean feel in that restaurant.
French. It's nice, a French. The Works, some of the best burgers you're going to get in town. You get La Pointe's moved into town, moved into the village, into Westboro. So great fish. Fratelli's been here for years, so that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, they opened up a new one now, right?
They just moved, so they were where La Pointe's was, or is now.
Oh, that's what's there now.
Fish Market, and they moved down the way. They took a slightly bigger spot. Yeah. So they're fantastic. Around the office here, Petit Bill's is one of my favorite lunch spots. Actually, Bagel Shop is a...
There you go.
They nail it, right? Yeah. So...
you don't have to walk too far, that's for sure.
Les over at Agavi does a great job. So, we're Parma Ravioli's next door. So, anyways, no, I'm not sure that I have a favorite. This is the strip that I spend my time on. I live 1.5 kilometers down, and so this is home.
Perfect for walking to work and all that.
Yeah.
And now I guess we could talk about the Eddy, which is moving into this area soon. How is everything going along with that?
So we just poured the 4th floor. It's a 6-story building, so poured the 4th floor. It's coming along well, on schedule. Sales are going well. If anybody does want a unit, though, we got a few left. 1000 Wellington, and we're fortunate that that neighborhood, the Hindenburg, the sort of Hindenburg neighborhood, is really coming along. And there's a number of projects planned for that area that are all in planning. Everybody tried to upzone, right? When we bought that, we said, listen, it's zoned for 6 stories. We're building 6 stories.
You're one of the only ones that do it.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
Yeah. Well, it was you talk to the community about what they want, and I firmly believe that. I'm a huge fan of density because I think it makes neighborhoods more interesting. Yeah. So my neighborhood, which is I live down on Golden Avenue, just down the way here, Golden and Richmond, it's being densified like it's gone out of style, and it just keeps getting better and better and better. I wish we still had some of the old. There was a pub there called Puzzles that was really classic.
I didn't live too far away from there a couple of years ago too, and I've been to Puzzles a couple of times.
I miss those kind of places, but
Whispers is still there.
Whispers, Whispers isn't Puzzles though.
No, that is
10 steps up.
Yeah,
I miss those kind of places. But you look at the amenities we have from density. But I also don't think that you want to just pound density in anywhere and everywhere. So there's a reason why our main streets are 6 stories. It gives it a much more human feel. So no, our we had to work hard to be able to respect that. But yeah, so it's 6 stories, coming along well.
How many units total in that building?
52. So we got commercial on the ground floor, 52 upstairs.
Yeah.
And I think we've got about a little over a dozen left.
Oh, that's good.
So no, it's going well.
Well,
it's a great, like, you want to talk about a fantastic neighborhood. And if you want to get into that kind of condominium living, you're waiting 3, maybe 4 years before there's anything similar to that going to be in that neighborhood. So,
Yeah.
And are you still doing the interesting parking garage?
5x2, yeah. The mechanical parking. So they're actually starting in about 2 weeks. We were over to visit them in Holland. You're asking if I've been to Holland before.
Yes.
So I've been over visiting them in Holland. So that system is just so much more efficient than driving your car underground and parking it and then having to go down and get it.
Yeah.
And you can order your car up on your cell phone. Let it know you're 10 minutes away. It puts it in queue. When you get there, you punch in your code, drops your car, off you go.
And I mean, that's been around in other countries for years and years and years, right?
Yeah.
What happens? Does it ever break down, this thing, though?
Well, yeah, it's not like
all
like everything
hydro
else.
operated?
It's electric. Yeah, it's electric and hydraulic, so it's an elevator.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, they build in redundancy. So it's about how many lifts have you got in there. So you could have a lift go down, but the system still works.
Okay.
So it's like having 3 elevators in a building. If one elevator goes down, it's not great. Instead of getting your car in 2 minutes, it might take 3. But it's not like the system goes down all day.
I was just thinking, if the power goes out or something, you're like, oh, nobody can leave.
Yeah, but if the power goes out, then we have backup generaters and that kind of thing. But yeah, if we have the blackout again, you're not. But then we didn't have gas either, right? So
Exactly. Yeah.
And the other major condo that is being built, the Cathedral, how is everything going for the Cathedral?
That's my new home, so I'm moving there.
Oh, really?
Once my kids, I've got 4 kids at home this summer, but they're between 17 and 23, so starting to make their way out. So I bought a unit in there. My folks are there actually as well. So
nice.
I got a couple of my buddies moving into the building. It's going to be.
It's going.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah. So no, that one, and I mean, again, a really unique piece of property.
Where's that located for those that don't know?
East end of Spark Street. So take Spark Street as far east as you can go, and it's sitting up on the bluff right in front of the Supreme Court of Canada, overlooking LeBreton Flats and the falls. You can actually get a great view of the Chaudière Falls from there. Fantastic building. The views are outstanding. You get all the views of our national monuments to the east. So Parliament buildings, the museums, National Gallery, and to the west you get a sunset straight shot down the Ottawa River. It's a pretty special spot.
And hopefully with the redevelopment that's supposed to go on with Spark Street, that'll help it even more. I mean, and that building will help that as well. I mean, they kind of go hand in hand.
Well, I think the big game changer for that end of the downtown core is going to be the transit station.
Yeah.
If you look at any city that brings in new subways or extends the subway, so if you go to Toronto and you look at the Steeles and Finch, the extension they did, you look at their skyline and what happens around those stations, and all the amenities that build up around stations. So I think that end of town is going to be a really interesting part of town. The old CS Co-op or Alterna Bank is going to get redeveloped as well. So you'll see a lot of things starting to change down on that end of town.
I'm excited for that. So you have 4 children. Are they going to be following in the?
Well, I actually have 5.
The windmill. Sorry,
I got 5. I got 4 of them at home right now. But we adopted a girl a couple of years back as well. So
nice.
Will they be following in the family's footsteps?
Well, I've got of the 5 of them,
like the Tigers.
So my wife is an engineer. I'm an engineer. Both my father-in-law and my father are an engineer, and there's a whole raft of others in the family. And I've got 3 of the 5 are engineers or in engineering school. One's a software engineer and is working down at Shopify right now.
Okay, great.
Oh, cool.
One is an environmental engineer, and she's headed to be an environmental lawyer. The one that's just graduating high school wants to be a civil engineer, and then my oldest daughter wants to be a doc. And the girl we adopted is in film. She wants to be a filmmaker. So
wow.
So I'm not sure that any of them are headed for this business, but my parents, what my parents did is they don't, so far anyways, we haven't passed businesses down, but we've passed being an entrepreneur down.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't say we've passed some businesses down, but it's all about being an entrepreneur and pursuing your dreams. And
Well,
what
that's
you want
it.
to do.
You're gonna if you want to put your heart into something. Obviously, I mean, you got to follow your own dreams, like you said, right?
Yeah.
So they
Well,
might not want this, but hey,
The chances of Bob Bentel, who ran Bentel Properties for years, and that was a third generation. He made it clear to me, as a man in his 70s at the time, made it clear to me when I was asking about family succession. He says, listen, the chances of one of my kids being able to run my business, number one, wanting to, and number two, having the skill set to run their business. He said, we might as well buy a lottery ticket. And there are absolutely families that have done that successfully. But, it gets really challenging. If you look at the families that have done it well over centuries, like the Rothschilds, for instance, that's all about passing down the business gene, not passing down the business, right? So,
So what was the childhood like with you and John and
I have sister Julie as well.
Julie.
Well, all three of us are entrepreneurs. So my sister is a change management consultant. Got her own business. John and I are doing Windmill right now, but both of us had other businesses as well. Dinner table. My mom and dad, we were in a unique situation that both my mom and dad worked in the business. So the dinner table was like a board meeting, right? What happened at work and who's doing what. So it was that language that we just always heard. So I just never assumed I'd do anything but run my own business. That was just normal for me, right? So,
well, how did and I read the story about going to a counselor when you went to a counselor, and you talked about entrepreneur, and they're like, no, don't go into something. Before, I've heard that one a ton of times as well, because both Andrew and I are entrepreneurs as well.
Yeah.
So,
that was for one of my kids actually. I blew a gasket. So
wow.
Yeah.
That is
most people. I mean, most people look at being an entrepreneur. Well, actually, I would say to you, I am on something called the Prosperity Council here in Ontario, and at the time it was Dalton McGinty that appointed me to it. But if you look at who's on the Prosperity Council, there's a dozen of us. It's Gord Nixon, who's the CEO of RBC. It's George Cope, CEO of Bell Canada, or BCE, Bell Canada. Nitin, who's the Canadian CEO of Cisco. Michael McCain from Maple Leaf Foods. These are guys
big heads.
And we sat, and one of the things we were looking at is how do we instill more entrepreneurship. And Gord Nixon said, listen, entrepreneurs eat risk for breakfast. They just have a totally different view of risk. They love risk. And I looked at him, I said, Gord, nothing could be further from the truth. I hate risk, which is why I'm an entrepreneur. Because if I go to work for you and you have a bad hair day and my number comes up, I lose my job.
Yeah.
The only way I can lose my job is because I did something stupid. That's called control, right? And if I'm in control,
you can control
it's
your
not
risk
really
a lot
risk,
better,
right?
yeah.
And so people have these weird perceptions about being an entrepreneur, and I don't think it's viewed as a profession, which is really unfortunate because for those who have the calling, no different than if you have a calling to do anything else in life, it's one of the most rewarding things you could ever do, right? So
absolutely.
So yeah,
I love it. Looking back, month to month, week, everything. Looking back and seeing where you can go.
Yeah,
because it's all you that does it.
Yeah.
So it's nobody else.
Which is a little scarier. I mean, you do need an awful lot of confidence in yourself and your own abilities.
Yeah.
But if you trust yourself, like to me, if I'm prepared to take a paycheck from someone else, I think I owe them a duty to give it everything I've got, and I wouldn't take the paycheck if I didn't think I could do the job.
Absolutely.
Well, if I think I can do the job, why don't I just do it for me then, right?
Exactly.
Love it. Love it. All right, so we'll be right back with Jeff Westeinde.
Oh, very good.
I should have had it in the first place.
I'm not trying.
Well, listen to one more song from James Leclaire of What Is Left is the name of the song from the new album of the same name. And Don from Foodie Prince will be talking about the Great Chili Cook-Off. It's the curry cook-off that will be at the GCTC on Monday. So if you love curry, you're going to love going out there to support a great cause. We'll be right back.
I'm gonna put the devil in my vein. Well, I walk these streets as I try to escape what's left of me. As my eyes roll back, I
All right, thanks, Nick. This is going to be a short segment for a short week. Hope everyone had a great Victoria Day weekend, and it looks like there's going to be pretty good weather this coming weekend. It's an opportunity to go out, have some fun, and enjoy some sunshine. Anyways, this coming Monday, highly recommend everyone head out to the GCTC for the curry cook-off that benefits the Fringe Festival. The Fringe Festival is Ottawa's branch, its arm of the Fringe movement. It started in 1997. It was founded in 1997. We're now in its 18th year. And this year, performances will be held in 15 downtown venues. 100% of ticket sales go directly to the performers. The idea is to afford all artists the opportunity to produce their own art. The entire festival is aimed to be affordable and accessible. There'll be comedy, music, drama, dance. I highly recommend the short performances, the short plays. They're very, very creative. They're very, very edgy. This year starts June 19th, it goes to 29th, and to support this really, really great festival, a lot of local restaurants around the West Wellington and Hintonbrook area are contributing to the curry cook-off at the GCTC next Monday. There'll be at least 10 curries by Ottawa's restaurants as $25, all you can eat, well, that's until they run out. There'll be vegetarian, vegan, fish, pork, and beef. It starts at 7 p.m. Tickets are available on Eventbrite. This will sell out. In previous years, we've been to a couple of them since 2011. In previous years, this event does sell out. This year, returning participants will be the Manx, Haveli, who's been participating since 2011, Absinthe Cafe. Absinthe Cafe is notable because Chef Patrick Garland has been nominated, chosen, and accepted the challenge to compete in gold medal plates this year. That's a big deal. He's a very talented chef, and he'll be contributing a curry to this cook-off. There's Canvas Resto Bar, which is down the street in Holland. Paragon of extremely good service, French bistro food. It'll be interesting to see what they provide. A new will be Zazaza. Zazaza is a really interesting pizza place. It's gas-fired ovens. The pizza is really, really consistent. And if you're in a hurry on a weekday and you've got kids in tow, family is a place to go out to eat, go hit a Zazaza. You're guaranteed to get a decent meal, decent pizza. On their menu, they have a carbonara that's not a carbonara pizza that kind of strays from tradition. It's made with Alfredo sauce. There's an Alfredo cream sauce. There's pancetta. There's snow peas. A lot of Italians are very, very proud of the carbonara tradition, and it doesn't include Alfredo sauce. That said, it's a very cool take. It's a North American take on Italian food, and one of the more creative things on their menu is a scary roommate pizza. I've had this thing. It's actually quite good, especially after a couple of beers. It's got crafted and hot dogs on it. And they're going to be doing a curry pizza for this event. So head out, support the Ottawa Fringe Festival, try a couple of curries, and best of all, this is a curry cook-off. There is a winner, and the winner is chosen by the people that participate. So that's this Monday. Tickets are available on Eventbrite. Go to ottawafringe.com, and you can buy yourself some tickets. Have a great weekend. Talk to you next week.
All right. Thank you so much, Don, and, of course, James. So we're back with Jeff Westeinde from Windmill Developments. So we'll talk about the big news in Ottawa these days is the incredible vision of the future on the Chaudière Island and Albert Island. And
Wright Island.
And Wright Island.
On the Quebec side.
The Wright Island and everything that's going on in Gatineau. So first off, my question, when did you first see that the land was for sale, and who went to whom in Windmill, and how was that conversation?
That's all Rodney Wills. So Rodney works with us here at Windmill. He lives up in Chelsea, and he typically commutes by bike. So that's a bridge that he takes oftentimes. And every time he rode past, he's like, "This is an amazing piece of property. I wonder what's going on here."
Was it even for sale, or did he dig into it?
No. So we did have an initial talk with Domtar to say, is this surplus? And they said, yeah, it is. and that they're in active discussions with parties. And at the time, they were talking to originally, actually, I'm not even sure. Originally, I think they just assumed the NCC would be buying it. I think everybody did.
Yeah.
So we had some initial discussions with them. Turns out we know a couple of people at Domtar that were very helpful to us to tell us what was going on and all that type of thing. The NCC Treasury Board opted not to fund the NCC to buy the property. When that happened, when we called Domtar and just asked the question, is it for sale? And they said, yes, it is, and here's what we're trying to do with it. So we followed up and went from there.
And that was after the Dockside Green project in Victoria?
Oh, yeah. Dockside Green in Victoria started in
2005.
Yeah, I was going to say 2004, but yeah, 2004, 2005, something like that. So, no, we've been talking to Domtar on and off for probably about 3 years now. And prior to that, Rodney would have brought it to our attention first, even a couple of years before. Let's call it 5 years.
Yeah.
But really, have only gotten serious with Domtar after the NCC decided they didn't want to purchase the property, which would be maybe 2 years now.
And that's perfect. And you probably saw it because you're a professional in brownfield sites, and you're a guru, I guess, in Canada for them. You probably just saw it as an incredible playground for, what we could do here.
Oh, I think anybody that looks at that property would see the same thing.
Yeah.
All that happens. What often happens, though, is the site, it is a complex site. It's in 2 different jurisdictions. It's half in Ontario, half in Quebec.
Yeah.
It is contaminated. There's a whole bunch of old rights-of-ways. Those islands aren't really where they used to be. They've been moved around by the entrepreneurs that were there for the last 200 years. They've been out there. Some of the greatest entrepreneurs in the world were on that site. So there's a lot of complexity to that, but oftentimes, solutions are generally pretty simple. Doesn't matter how many players there are. The solutions to them are fairly simple, and if you just stick to the basic rules, I'd like to say the rules you learned in kindergarten, everything else kind of comes together, right? So,
and did I read correctly that this is the first time that Ottawa and Gatineau have kind of teamed up on a project such as this?
I can say there's a design review process that happens in the different jurisdictions.
Yeah.
So the City of Ottawa has a design review panel. The NCC has a design review panel called ACPDAR. And Gatineau has a design review process internal to the City of Gatineau. Typically what happens is that you go to the municipalities to get a design review done, and in some instances, if the NCC has oversight, then you would also go to ACPDAR. And oftentimes they can be in conflict with what they come up with. In this instance, we asked 3 parties if they would be prepared to do it all at once. So it was the first time for sure that the design review panels have ever been together.
Let's save a few steps, I would assume, as opposed to going one individually and then everyone wants to change it.
Well, there's a bit of that, but I'd also like to think you get better thinking. If you can have a truly collaborative process and include all of the key thinkers, and the people on the design review panels at all of these places are brilliant planning minds, got fantastic ideas. But they all come from a certain background. If you can get them all together and you start talking about what you want to do and what you want to create, the amount of value we got from that process is fantastic. And at the same time, got the buy-in from the 2 cities. And it was interesting. City of Gatineau's looking at what City of Ottawa, or what's going to happen in the City of Ottawa, and commenting on it, and vice versa. So you get that real sense of partnership around a project. So no, it's great.
Cool.
So, and we're seeing a ton of cooperation amongst the parties on that.
What are you taking from your previous and Dockside Green?
Yeah.
What are you taking from Dockside Green and bringing over here? Maybe some little mistakes. Well, not mistakes, but little hiccups there that we can improve here. Because that project's very interesting. Doing the research on it, because the economic downturn. So you had such a large project, people forget that there's so many business cycles. So doing a large project like this, encapsulates so many things.
Yeah, and I mean, really, I think what we're taking from Dockside Green is a real sense of confidence that we can be the best in the world.
Yeah.
Because we know what we did at Dockside Green, and we know the notoriety that Dockside Green has attracted and continues to attract around the globe. Bill Clinton named it one of the 16 most sustainable communities on the planet.
Yeah.
The LEED system, which is a point rating system, the most LEED points ever awarded to any project anywhere on the planet. It's one of the things on Dockside.
And just real quick, LEEDs, for those that don't know, leadership,
energy efficiency and design. Yeah, administered here in Canada by the Canadian Green Building Council, and it's just a rating system about how sustainable a building is. So everything we do is LEED Platinum, whereas most people struggle to get a LEED certification.
Yeah.
So just a real sense of confidence that if we put our mind to something, and then we really can knock it out of the park, be the best in the world. As far as lessons learned go, we have built in the fact that this is going to be, we believe, an 8 to 12 year project, just with the rate that the cities are growing at, both Ottawa and Gatineau, and that we're going to see a few cycles. So we need to make sure that our program is structured to manage those cycles. So there's some things like that we look at, but the real thing is what we learned from Dockside Green. When people say, "Well, no, I don't think we can do that," we say, "No, we can do it. Like, why not?
Yeah.
Why not?" Right? So
exactly, that's cool. So speaking of sustainable communities, what goes into sustainable communities, and/or I guess at the same time, what gets you a LEED Platinum certification? Like, what makes these buildings get those certifications?
Yeah. So, so I'll talk about LEED first. So LEED is really LEED has some programs that focus on neighborhoods and communities, but by and large, LEED's used on a building scale, and really just rates the sustainability of a building. So the simple stuff is, what sort of energy use have you got, what sort of water use have you got, and a lot of that has to do with the kind of building envelope you have, and a lot of the HVAC systems you have. How much fresh air do you get in? So how do you create a healthy environment inside your building? Part of it also then is how do you tie into the rest of the fabric of your community? So are you near transit? Do you have a bike lockup? Do you have showers for people that want to go for a run at lunch or bike to work? So it's a fairly holistic way of looking at does the building respond to allow users to, number one, live and or work in a healthy environment. Number two, tie into the neighborhood that's there and take advantage of the sustainable options that are around them. At Chaudière, we've decided to go a slightly different route in that we're bringing in something called One Planet, the One Planet communities.
That's right.
And One Planet speaks for itself. The name says what it is, which is we have to live as if we only have one planet. And everyone goes, well, but we only do have one planet. Yeah. And we remind everyone that, yes, we do, but if everyone lives like us, we'd need 5. And all we're doing is we're stealing from the developed world and our grandkids to be able to live the way we do today, and that has to stop at some point in time.
Yeah, for sure.
So One Planet's a little bit even more holistic than LEED. LEED is very engineering and architecturally focused.
Okay.
One Planet has all of those with some pretty lofty goals. We to be One Planet, we have to be zero carbon from operations by 2020. Zero carbon is not an easy thing to achieve in today's world.
No, I wouldn't assume so.
There's sustainable water, but sustainable materials, all the kinds of things you'll see in the LEED rating system. But then it layers on things like sustainable food. So, are you building in an area that can support the community with local food?
Yeah.
So you'll see us doing urban agriculture. You'll see us making sure that a lot of the food and beverage offerings that we have, that we're going to have probably not binding covenants, but we're going to turn to the occupants, be they lessors or purchasers, and put covenants in and say, would you agree to use your best efforts to buy local, to sustain local community economy? It also has things like health and happiness. So, LEED doesn't rate the happiness of community people. So this, what are the things that we're going to be doing to make sure we introduce opportunities for recreation? So, we're looking at can we take fuller advantage of the water and have some whitewater rafting capability? Can we create an urban zipline park where you can be zipping between buildings on our site? So it's all that kind of stuff.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It sounds like a lot of fun. A project like this.
It is. It is. It reminds me of being a kid when you're sitting with a whole bunch of Lego blocks.
Yeah.
So what do we want to build, right?
Yeah.
And what's nice about this is that a lot of people have given us a lot of compliments about the plan that we've developed. And what I say all the time is, it's not our plan. We met with so many people to come up with this plan, and listened to so many people. So all these ideas, like the urban zipline park, it's not our idea.
Yeah.
Whitewater Raft, it's not our idea. So a lot of the other things that we're talking, again, it's not our idea, but we have thrown it out there and said, what would success look like for our communities, for both Ottawa and Gatineau? What would success look like here? The amount of people that have come up with some just really cool stuff that we might be able to do. That's how.
Speaking of people coming up with things, I noticed on your website you do have a name challenge sort of thing. Have you been getting a lot of interesting ideas from our community on that?
We've been getting some. We'd love to see more. Okay. So if any of your listeners, if you go to our website, currently we have it's a placeholder. We've called it the Isles, Les Îles.
Yeah.
But we are looking for a name that would be appropriate for the development. And we do have some response, but nowhere near as much as we'd like. So,
we'll get more response for that.
So get everyone to the website. It's www.windmilldevelopments.com, and you'll go to the tab on the Isles and go in there. I tried to brainstorm last night some ideas for names.
I was doing mine as well. I was looking more into First Nation terms and trying to go that route.
Yeah.
And I haven't found any terms or words that would
we'll
make
get some.
sense yet. But I've still been, and I love how you guys did it in Victoria. You're doing it here. Yeah. You don't need to, but you decide. Well, all stakeholders. It's great.
We're community builders. That's what we do. And if you're just builders and you don't involve the community, then you're not really community builders. So, it would be wrong for us just to go build whatever we think is right and hope that people want to come. Whereas if we build the things that people want to see and that people want to
sales are a little better that way too, I'm sure. You build something that people don't want, well, I guess what?
Here's something that a lot of people need in the city: a concert venue, the kind of same size as the Cool House or Metropolis in Montreal. Mm-hmm. And that would be a perfect way so we could bike off to the island for a concert venue. Yeah. So that's what a lot of people are looking for. So
all right, good.
Tell me what I can do, how much money I have to raise, and I'll do whatever I can.
Well,
I'll put on Kickstarter now, hopefully within 5 years.
Well, one of the things that we have looked at is, and we've actually, it was a big discussion we had with both, mostly City of Gatineau, but a little bit with City of Ottawa, was around public places. Yeah. And we want to create intimate public places. Ottawa's got an enormous amount of large public places, and if you think about, say, in front of the War Museum, it's a festival venue that gets used all the time. But if you happen to be there on a Tuesday afternoon with just you and a couple of buddies, it's pretty intimidating. It's a big space. So we want to create those intimate public spaces where you could have, if you think about the Montreal Jazz Fest, where you wander through old Montreal and you come across a stage. And those kinds of things.
Even Quebec City, I was noticing their small spaces. I love their small space. People just sit down, read a book. Somebody be playing a guitar for 20 people. And your plans to have it. And definitely recommend to any listeners, please read the master plan of the plans. It's unbelievable. I don't think anybody can read that in Ottawa and not be motivated and pumped up for, be excited for the future of what we can do. And you have everybody rooting for you, hoping that everything goes well here. Hoping because dealing with City of Gatineau, NCC, possibly Ottawa, you're doing something that is not very typical. Yeah, but you'll find a way.
Well, you know what? They've been. I can tell you that the president of the NCC, Mark Manson, the two mayors, Maxime Bednaud-Jobin and Jim Watson, all three of them have personally said they really like the project. They take a personal interest in it, and that goes down through the board of directors of NCC, the councillors on both sides. We're fortunate that we really do have a lot of support at the levels that it's going to take to do something different. Because one of the things we reminded everyone early on, we said we want to be world class. Yeah, and world class means different. And if we're going to be different, it means that we're not going to follow all of the rules you have about, say, streetscapes. So we want to have a different kind of streetscape. And city engineers aren't paid to make a choice over a new kind of streetscape. They're paid to enforce the bylaw. So it really is about capturing that vision, making sure everyone captures that vision, and then what can we do to move it forward? We want to, we need to make sure it's safe and that is maintainable and
Yeah.
it meets fire, health, safety, all those types of things. But it doesn't have to be the same as everything else, right?
No.
So no, we're feeling pretty, very fortunate that we have the kind of leadership in both cities and the NCC that we have. So.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we love it. What? So next steps, you submitted the plan for zoning,
Yep.
rezoning on the 22nd of April. When does that go to council?
Yet to be determined.
Yet to be
We've got a
okay.
whole bunch of technical stuff we have to do, but we're hopeful that it'll get to both councils this fall.
This fall,
Yeah.
okay. And then hopefully moves faster.
Receive zoning, in sometime in the winter because the council approves it. And
Okay.
it takes a little bit of time to get the actual zoning. And if all goes well, then we will be starting construction and renovation of some of the existing buildings in the spring.
Wow.
Wow, that'd be great.
We'll probably be out to do a soft launch for both condos, offices, and retail because we want to start off with a very mixed use type of community this fall.
Perfect.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much,
Yeah,
Jeff,
thanks
for
a
having
lot.
us.
my pleasure.
We'll be keeping watch, and we'll try to get some names for it.
Awesome.
And I'll see you at all the launches. Quickly go over events because we actually won't go over events because we ran out of time. So we'll play one last song from James Leclaire. Here Time Stands Still. Next week we will be doing our Ottawa Summer Concert Festival preview with Ottawa Showbox. Have a great week, everyone.
Time stands still here in these hills. Pause like the pines in the morning chill. Well, the fog's on the water and it floats like a ghost, reminiscing of past souls that have fished these shores. The echoes of a loon play the softest of tunes, like Mother Nature's lullaby to wake up to. Well, the grass is soaked with a heavy dew. Looks like a field of diamonds when that sun shines through. You see, it's here that time stands still. It's here that time stands still. Cracking of the dark from the weight of our walk sends ripples over water and it laps on the rocks. Just sit with an old friend and cast as we talk about days long gone, maybe catch our lunch. Yes, it's here that time stands still. Yes, it's here that time stands still. There's no fast forward, there's only slow mo. No hustle, no bustle, we just go with the flow. Like the leaves on the trees and the clouds in the sky. No